From Sheebeg you can see another hill in the distance called Sheemore. Turlough O'Caran composed his first piece of music here. It was called Sheebeg Sheemore. This is Fina village. In early Christian times, St. Colleen had a monastery here which lasted up to the 12th century. St. Colleen is the patron saint of the O'Rourkes. The local guardians were the O'Roddies. They looked after and protected the monastery and the monks. This is where the writer John McKiernan lived. John McKiernan was born in Dublin and spent his childhood in the parish of Ahawillan in County Leitrim, until his mother, who was a local primary school teacher, died. The family then moved to Coot Hall in County Roscommon to live with their father, who was a Garda sergeant there. After he graduated from St. Patrick's College in Drumcondra, he began his career as a school teacher. He was forced to resign over his novel, The Dark. Here are some of his books which he wrote. The Barracks, The Dark, Amongst Women, That They May Face the Rising Sun, and his latest book which he wrote, Memoirs, tells us the story of his life. This is known as Selton Hill, where on the 11th of March 1921, 11 men of the South Leitrim Flying Column were surprised by a force of 27 British soldiers. Their names were John Joe O'Reilly from Miscon, John Joe O'Reilly from Derrencaher, Seamus Rinn, Bernie Sweeney, P. McDermott, Andy McPartland, Joe Byrne, Paddy Guckian, Michael Baxter, Jack Hunt and Sean Connolly. Altogether, 6 of the volunteers were killed, and this memorial statue was erected to them in 1936. This monument is to the late John Joe McGirl, who was a noted Irish Republican and former Chief of Staff of the Irish Republican Army. It is situated near the bridge here in Ballinamore, which crosses the Shannon-Erne waterway. This is Gardice Lake, a fine sheet of waterway to which the Shannon-Erne waterway flows. There are a number of islands on this lake, the most important being O'Reilly's Island, called after Miles the Slander. Sadly, it also has a record for drowning tragedies in recent times, but the largest single mishap took place on the 23rd of August 1942, when 6 young people, 2 boys and 4 girls, were drowned at a spot where the Ballinamore-Ballyconnell Canal opens into the lake, close to the Carrick-McKeegan Bridge. It was a pleasant Sunday evening, and 13 people, all from Ballinamore, were on a boating cruise when the boat capsized, drowning 6 of the occupants. In July 1920, a successful attack for arms was made on a British military lorry that broke down here in Corrawallion in the parish of Drumreilly. About 15 volunteers mingled with the congregation coming from Mass. As they jumped past, each man jumped on a soldier and pinned him to the ground. The soldiers, 6 in number, were disarmed. The lorry overturned and 6 Lee Enfield rifles were taken. No one was injured. Charles Eddie McKiernan, a native of Ballinamore, was one of the men who took part in this action. This is the village of Newtown Gore, called after the landed family of Gore, who owned all the land around the village. The Gore family was a very important landed family in olden times. This is a photograph of Cloncore Castle, which was situated outside Carrigallen. It was the seat of the O'Rourke's in olden times. It was later taken over by a Scottish landlord called Aaron. More recently, it was purchased by the Williams family. Here you can see the only castle remains, which are the courtyard buildings. This is Killygar House, home of the late John Godley Lorkel Bracken. He was born in 1921 and passed away early this year, at the age of 85 years. His wife, Lady Sue, and his son Sean currently reside here. The house has been in the Godley name since 1810, when John Godley III, a young Dublin merchant, inherited the property, and he promptly decided to build a house at Killygar and spend the rest of his life here. It was completed in 1813. He was also responsible for building the church, school and school teacher's house at Killygar, together with the 2 gate lodges and 8 other cottages in the demesne.